Hello friends, my name is Aaron Ciotti, and I feel how I look. I've been sick since Wednesday, no, Tuesday actually, and yesterday I finally started feeling like a living human being again. But boy, it has kicked my ass. I have a feeling I didn't bother to test because who cares? But I think I had one of the two strains of COVID that's like floating around right now, where you don't like lose your sense of taste and smell, but you get like nasty body aches and like it's in here in your chest and it's in your head, and yeah, it's been a rough it's been a rough few days here. But I feel just barely good enough to live stream for a couple hours here. That was a gig that I've and I actually flew a gig this morning. That was a gig I flew this morning for Lululemon for Sunday Stroll, a little Sunday Stroll event that they're trying to kick off. So that was super fun. flew that for one of my favorite people, one of my favorite people. That makes sense. My brain is very foggy, so fair warning. I'm gonna say weird shit. Just ignore it. I'm old and sick. Yeah. I'm here. Here I am. We're going to talk about WeBleed 40,000 kV 0702s. We've talked about these motors before, but we haven't really talked about them in a while. And they are one of my, if not my favorite, I think they are my favorite indoor motor for really, really, really lightweight kind of builds that you can be super accurate with, fly around the house, not destroy stuff. I have a lot of these motors, and I probably have 3 sets of these motors because I've tried them on all different, like, all up weight rigs. I've tried them on all different propellers, and I've kind of settled on where I like them best. So we're going to fly a couple of batteries on this thing today. We're also going to talk about this specific build here, which is kind of interesting. This is a Mobula 6 2024 that has been, and it's the version 1, which is direct solder, and it's been modified in a way that is like kind of, this is, whoo, my brain is having a hard time putting words together into sentences right now. Holy shit. This has been modified to be super durable, but also as lightweight as possible. That's what I was trying to say. It's a version 2 Air 65 frame, ORT micro V antenna. Runcam Nano 3 with the old school Mobula 6 canopy, and then HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 propellers. This. Everybody watch Doug DeMuro. This is. It also has one of these really cool little tiny whoop 180 degree LEDs. I forgot to put batteries in the charger, but I remembered just now, and that gives us enough time. Fired up to 0.9 of an amp on the old school Vifly. Plug in 1 battery, plug in 2 batteries. 3 batteries. Hopefully, this isn't totally unwatchable. I figured, you know, you can always turn it off if it's just, if this is bad. But if I didn't do this, you wouldn't be able to turn it on. You know what I mean? You can't turn this on if it doesn't exist, but you can turn it off if it does exist. Oh my god. Okay. I've tried these motors on a lot of different setups. One of the things I can tell you is I don't like them on the bigger propellers. This is a 1.4 inch build, slightly bigger, on the Meteor 65 Pro frame. I think that's what it's called, with the 1.4 inch props instead of 1.2 inch props. 40,000 kV is too much for these bigger propellers. It's too much. It's way too much for the tri-blades. It's also too much for the Gemfan bi-blades. They're at home on low pitch, 1.2-inch tri-blades or 1.2-inch bi-blades, which is kind of cool. Like it's kind of cool to find the perfect sort of all up weight build, and which weight and amount of drag propellers that a motor works best with, and it takes some time to kind of do that. So yeah, they're a great motor, and these builds like this are, in my opinion, like really what you want for flying around the house. This has like $150 tied up in it, all in. You know, you can get a Mobula 6 2024, I think, for maybe $120. Don't quote me on that. The prices have changed so much lately. But what I'm getting at is it's not an expensive build. You know, it's not going to cost a ton of money to build this. There's always, myself included, there's always a push to want to build something that is super versatile, that like you can fly inside, you can fly outside, you can fly in big spaces, you can fly in small spaces. Flying inside your house is not the scenario to do that in. Hey, by the way, look at this. For the first time ever, I've flown 2 gigs in a row now on a stupid use the tabs setup, and I don't like it, but it has worked, and it has not given me jello, and yeah. So if you have a Cinewoop with the little low profile mount here, and then you're using the GoPro tabs rather than what I do prefer, which is a mount like this, like a full protection, you know, style mount, it does work. This is what I've always run. I've run mounts like this for the whole almost 4 years now that I've been flying professional gigs, and they've been great. You can just there's a little, this is a Brain 3D mount. There's a little slot here, a little slut here. There, you can see it. Where you can slide ND filters in, which is very they slide in there in and out super easily. If you need to switch between like an ND8 and an ND16, or if you need to take the filter on and off, it's super easy to do. They stay in there fine. It's a Cinewoop, so you're not going to be crashing it really hard, right? So you don't have to worry about them popping out of there. But at the $11 billion home gig that I flew a few weeks ago, they wanted me to fly everything twice. They wanted me to fly everything in horizontal and also in vertical. And so you can see this vertical mount has the tabs on it. And so I switched over to this style mount because it would make swapping back and forth between a vertical mount and a horizontal mount a lot quicker. This vertical mount uses the same style of slide the ND filter in here. But then when I would use this horizontal mount, I was having to swap out the actual lens. So this is a Camera Butter ND8 lens. Which, you know, it's a replacement for like the GoPro lens there. You twist it and it pops off. And so I just left this mount on it to fly again with it. And I did today. And it worked. I will admit, though, that I don't like it. It doesn't have like a fixed up tilt, which... you could certainly argue that a mount like this is nice because you can add up tilt or take away up tilt very easily. You can even go into downward, which I'll admit is kind of nice. A full mount like that is locked. That particular one is locked at 10 degrees. 10 degrees is kind of the perfect up tilt for a Cinewhoop. There's not many situations where you want more or less up tilt than that. But I don't know, man. I'm super happy that the mount, that this tab style mount didn't, it doesn't seem to have given me jello or anything like that. McShaky says, are ND filters ever used indoors? Yep. If it's super bright inside, or if there's a lot of natural light, or if you're flying indoors and you want to expose the outdoors. If you're flying indoors and there's a lot of big windows, the previous gig to this most recent $5 million home one, I flew everything twice. Once on an ND8, once with no ND filter. And I actually flew all of the interiors with the ND filter because the home had massive windows. And so there were certain parts of the fly-through where I would yaw past a massive window, and with the ND filter on, it would be properly exposed. And so I gave the editor the option to put those, to try. They didn't do this, but I gave them the footage so that if they were super slick, they would have been able to combine them, and in the indoor pass take that frame with the properly exposed out ultra bright window, and drop that in there. That would be hard to do, but some editors are absolutely incredible, and would be able to do that kind of thing. But also, yeah, if it's just bright, if there's really hot studio lights inside, you might need an ND filter. It's rare. That would definitely be a rare thing, but you never know. Good question. I'm pulling the top plate off this because here's a funny thing. These two battery straps have been on this Cinesplore top plate for all 4 years that I've been flying it. And the Velcro, I've put so many batteries through this that the Velcro is worn the fuck out. You know how Velcro eventually gets, like, if you put Velcro in the same spot over and over and over again, it, like, you know, Velcro is hook and loop, right? So there's loops and then there's hooks. And eventually the loops open up, and that's what's going on with this Velcro. It barely holds on anymore. It's all, you can see it. It's all like fuzzy and hairy. So I got to switch the I got to swap out the to some fresh Velcro here. Man, we are all over the place today. It ain't gonna get any better from here. All right, you go over there. So yeah, that's the plan for today. Let me get caught up on chat just a little bit here, and then we're going to talk more about 0702 40,000s. 0702 40,000 kV motors. Here's some more flying from today while I talk over this. Oh, no, that's not the button. Well, that'll work. In the chat, what's happening in the chat? Whopping around. There we go. In the chat, Spaceman Spiff was first, Bad was next, Sporny, Frank Nicholas, Tamava, Elias, Andrew Taylor, WeBleed, Whoop Fox, The Bruce, YuCanFPV, Uriel, Brent Anderson, Four Little Pigs. CCAD Ryan, License to drive, Uriel, Bloudman 648. The Bruce, Uriel. The reason it keeps freezing like that is because it's playing off the SD card. I haven't had a chance to pull them off the SD card onto the hard drive yet. Cole Powers, Whoop Fox, Everyday with Bruno McShaky. The Enzel the Terrible, Kilo Zebra. What's up, friends? Type CiottiFPV into your chat message if you want me to read it. Uriel says, happy to see ya. This is also washed out because it's in raw or whatever the hell GoPro calls it. GoPro color, flat profile. With a LUT. With the GoPro LUT, this will look a lot better. Uriel says, happy to see ya. Thank you, dude. Elias says, oh man, get well soon. I'll be fine. The Bruce says, weird shit is why we stay here. Yo, I was so... What? Oh my god. I was so bad on Wednesday and Friday. Oh my god. I can't even, like... I can't even explain how horrible I felt. Look at that dive performance, man. Look at this full weight Cinewhoop at like 10% throttle, diving flat and true. Full ducts, big ass ducts, super slow setup. That is props in right there, friends. Somebody says, make sure it's not on storage charge. It's not. Thank you for that, though. The Bruce says, weird shit is why we stay here, CiottiFPV. I'm thinking this might be an opening shot for him right here. Show the skyline, get a little bit of rotation. They'll probably speed this up, speed ramp this up. I tried to keep this absolutely as steady as I could so that they could speed ramp it. Little bit of a reveal because you can't quite see the sign, but now you can kind of see the sign. Ponce, City, Market. Another speed ramp here. I tried to keep this absolutely as steady as possible so that the speed ramp doesn't look like hell. I'll, of course, run this through real steady go to take those little wobbles and bobbles out. Tried to time that so that I didn't fly directly over the car, and then there we go. That worked out pretty good. I practiced that on the previous battery maybe once. It's a little windy. Not bad. Boy, it was hot as shit today. Oh my god. I was sweating my ass off, dude. It's like 105 here. It's insane. Dumb hot here. This is all B-roll flying. This is all trying to give them like little 2-second bursts and or stuff that they can speed ramp up to throw in between the static camera shots. If you're ever flying one of these gigs and you're all alone and they're not gonna have any other footage, you're gonna fly differently. A gig where they have somebody with a gimbal, or if they just have anybody shooting like static stuff, yeah, you're gonna fly more B-roll-ish. Although, to be honest, most of what we do is B-roll flying anyway, so most of what you want is gonna be that. There's the I'm on the wrong monitor, but it's fine. This one wasn't as good. There you go. There's some of the stuff from today. Happy? Uriel says, you have to see shit before you can see the sun, but I have a fatty liver now. It makes me squirm. Whoop Fox says, make sure it's not a storage charge. Thank you. Again, Cole Power says, I hooked into my flight controller from 4.2 to 4.5, and I'm pretty sure I forgot to set IMU orientation. Oops. Yeah, that happens. Every Day with Bruno says, you look and sound like I feel. Hope you don't have the vid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. Pretty sure I did. But yeah, there was just no reason to waste a test for it. You know, like, if it got so bad that I had to go to the hospital, I'd go to the hospital. You know, I tried to, like, just exist in the basement. I wasn't sleeping upstairs. I slept down here. I stayed down here as much as I possibly... I just stayed down here. You know, it was... I treated it as if I had COVID. And, Yeah. By the way, this is because Florence, who is 14, um, last week went back to high school, and so last week she went to high school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, high school is a massive super spreader event. All summer long, kids get all kinds of horrible shit, and then they spread it all around. And she brought it home, and gave it to me. And Maggie's immune system is stronger than mine, so she did not get it, but I did. And Florence is now feeling like crap. So, yeah, back to school. This happened last year as well. It just is what it is. But like I said, yesterday I really kind of turned the corner and started feeling a lot better. And so hopefully tomorrow night I'll be feeling even better than this, because I'm still very foggy, and my throat is still bothering me, and I'm just exhausted. I'm just super run down. I've been I've been getting as much sleep as I can. I've been doing emergency every day, and just eating as much as I can, drinking as much as I can, and just resting. Full-blown man flu shit, man. Like just don't. I don't know. Over the years of getting sick, I truly feel like if you can, just like, and it's funny if you don't know, like, my personal definition of man flu is that men typically, when we get sick, just completely shut down and like stop everything and just and just like, I can't do anything. Whereas typically when women get sick, they don't do that. They just mash through it. But what I've noticed over the years, because I've had to mash through it before, like if if I had shit going on with work or just whatever, like there have been scenarios where I've gotten sick where I couldn't just like rest for a few days. What I've noticed over the years, being 44 years old now, is that if I can just shut down and like not do shit and just really rest and let my body fight the shit off without, expending a bunch of energy on other things in life, I'll get over it a lot quicker. Lives with like, I would the way that my voice was, and like I would not, if I'd tried to mash through this on Wednesday and Friday's live streams, it would have been terrible live streams. I couldn't think straight. Like it would have been bad. Like it wouldn't have been good for anybody to watch. And so yeah, I rested, and I think I got through it faster because of that. But that's what I mean when I say man flu, is that, yeah, I just shut all the way down and like didn't do shit. But I think that was a good choice. Doesn't matter if it was a good choice. It's the choice that I made. And here we are, my friends. Ugh. Every Day with Bruto says, oh no, we got that. Cold Power says, is there a reason you couldn't shoot closer to 1:1 aspect at max resolution? What was their target expert resolution? What? 1:1 aspect at max resolution. I'm assuming that we're talking about the flight footage from the gig that I flew this morning. 1:1 aspect. So I fly a GoPro Hero 12 Black, which has an 8x7 sensor, and that's what you guys saw, is 8x7. I don't think it gives you the option to do 1:1 square aspect ratio. Even if it did, I wouldn't do that, because in order to do that, it would be, you would just be not using the extra 0.5 and 0.5 on the left and right sides of the sensor, right? Setting this, if in my opinion, one of the most, and most people's opinions, the most important thing, one of the most important things about knowing the specific camera that you're flying, be it a Hero 12 Black or a DJI Action, not Action 5, I don't know, whatever the 5 is, a little bit better than this, or a 04, is you need to know the sensor size, or you need to know what the settings are, what the aspect ratio settings are that will give you the maximum. You can either look up what size the sensor is. Is it a 4x3 sensor? Is it a 16x9 sensor? Is it an 8x7 sensor? In the Insta360 Go's case, is it a 1x1 sensor? And then you set the aspect ratio to that exact same sensor size, right? Or what you can do is you can just set the camera down on your desk, and then you can go to the aspect ratio settings, and then just cycle through them and record for like 1 second, and then pull those files onto your computer and play each one of those files. And what you're looking for is which file has the maximum field of view. And then you've figured out what your sensor size is. The reason that you want to do that is that it's just silly to not film in the widest possible settings to use the full sensor. So if I was to set this camera to, this camera films in basically like 8x7, which, so this is 16, this camera has, this DSLR has a 4x3 sensor, I believe. I think there's a bunch of extra field of view above and below. Yeah, there is, because I can, watch this, I can go like this. Wait, no, that ain't it. Watch this, I can go like this. See that? I'm coming up from the bottom. So this is, I output to YouTube in 16x9 here, but I have the bottom cropped off. And so, yeah, in this camera is a 4x3 sensor. But if you imagine, but I'm outputting 16x9. So right now, this is 16x9. If I pull my arms in a little bit, if I delete everything on the outside of my arms, this is kind of 4x3. And then this would be like 8x7. If I set this GoPro Hero 12 Black to 1x1, it would just do that. I don't even think it has that setting, but if it did have that setting, it would just do that. So it just wouldn't use any of the extra pixels out here. And there's kind of no reason to do that. Like if somebody wanted to run a 16x9 crop, you would not be giving them those extra little bit of pixels. It's not that much. 8x7 versus 1x1, it's not that much, but it's a little bit, and it makes a little bit of a difference. So everything, like every single time I fly, unless there's a very specific reason for it, like I'm not gonna edit it, and that's kind of the only reason. I will always use the aspect ratio or the lens settings. You know, sometimes you'll have the option for like wide or super view or shit like that. But yeah, I almost always film, and you should too, always film in whatever settings gives you the maximum field of view, because that means that you're using as much of the sensor as possible. And then when you drop it into Premiere, if you don't need that extra, you just chop it out, right? It's better to give as many pixels as possible and then let them delete versus, you know, well, I know they're going to only show this in 16x9, so I'll just film it in 16x9. Well, what if they want to put it on Instagram? If you film something in 16x9 and they want to put it on Instagram, they're going to waste all these extra wide pixels. That's what's super nice about the 8x7 sensor in the Hero 12 and 13s, is that these, ooh, this is interesting. Am I going to lose my voice? I haven't been talking over the past few days. Shit. Ah, yikes. I didn't think about that. All right, hold on. I'm going to move this mic a little closer. Oh, boy. I'm going to move this mic a little closer. I'm going to try to talk a little bit quieter. Yeah. Always film in the widest possible. Always, you know, record the maximum number of pixels that you can. Unless you don't want to edit. If you just want to dump something directly into whatever. If there's some weird scenario where you absolutely don't want to do any editing. Here's the thing though, like what I was about to say is like if you just wanted to drop it directly into Instagram, Instagram lets you change even Instagram lets you change the aspect ratio a little bit. So not many situations where you would not want to use whatever the maximum whatever the aspect ratio is of the sensor itself. Does that make sense? Hopefully I didn't lose you. I know that not all of you guys are have like a photography background, so I try to kind of walk through that stuff in a way that anybody can kind of understand. Uh-oh. Don't do that. Yeah. Good. Come on. There we go. I had to find and reinstall the little whatever the hell these things are. This little thing on the bottom here, 7 grams. 7 or 8 grams. 7 point something grams, I think. Ridiculous. The first thing I do when I get a GoPro is I take these off because I usually run them in the full mount. But yeah, crazy amount of weight. I'm glad I could find it. I just touched the ND filter. Atreides is in the house. He says, "What's up?" I am sick, dude, but I'm feeling way better. Way better. Hopefully that answers your question, Cole. McShaky says, no, we got that. Cole Power says, I wish someone made a pocket camera that shoots 4K RAW. Is there a GoPro that does 10-bit or better? Yep, this one. 10-bit color. I think it goes up to 5K. I actually shoot this at 4K, though. I try to not... Every time I have ever heard of someone having, like, an issue with a GoPro, with it like overheating or just doing weird shit, it's when they're shooting them at like the absolute max settings. So I always go down one notch, and nobody ever asks for 5K. 4K is always totally acceptable. I also shoot in 60 frames a second. I don't even know if you can do 5K in 60 frames. Well, I can tell you right now. But yeah, I always like to go one step down. So if I come in here, 4K, if I go up to, it's actually 5.3K. Yeah, see, 5K doesn't let you do 60 frames a second. 4K, you can go 60 frames a second. So that's another reason that I don't do 5K, is because, you know, we primarily fly B-roll, and a lot of times B-roll gets used in the edit. I'm not going to say a lot of times, but 4K 60 frames a second as an editor, you're gonna want that more, in my opinion, than 5.3K 30 frames a second. B-roll stuff, you know, a little bit more flexibility there. Elias says, do you know the Ysido motors? I've never heard of those before. They are super cheap, and they could be worth a try or not. Are they that much cheaper than like the good motors that we run? Ysido? What? $10 for 4? No way. Nah. Okay. They don't look that much cheaper. They're a little bit cheaper. But they don't look that much cheaper than motors that we know. Interesting. They're looks like you can only get them on AliExpress, so I won't be trying them. I only order from stateside vendors. They're probably made by one of the existing motor manufacturers, but then at this price point, they just have even less quality control. There's not that many manufacturers making brushless outboard style motors like this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're that much cheaper to be worth the risk. But you never know. They could be awesome. They could be exactly the same as like T-Motor 1103s, but they just don't say T-Motor on the side. But yeah, I don't order from AliExpress anymore, especially not now. I'm not ordering anything from overseas right now, because of, you know, fascism, basically trying to ruin all of our lives. Danzilla Terrible says your 2 flights would have to be exactly the same to replace windows in a video. Yeah. When I fly these indoor tours, it's pretty close. You know, I was flying like from outside into the house, and then I would just do my path. And it was like, and then at the end of it, I would fly out of the house. So it was like, I can either fly into the house and then just like to where I'm going to go out of the house and then fly out of the house, or I can just fly into the house and just do my path real quick. And it's like another chance to practice the path and get better. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, but editors are pretty fancy. So you never know. But yeah, I in my head I was like, this is kind of silly for me to do this, but it added like 10 seconds. And the other thing it did is that you know, on the flight out of the house, I wanted to be on the same kind of path. So it put me on the most similar possible path to then fly out of the house, versus like just through the house just to get from point A to point B, and then like, oh well, what if I get this? You know, I had a rotation going, and hopefully that makes sense. McShaky says, how do you slow down fast like that without rolling back? You fly a proper Cinewhoop. That right there, exactly what you just said, is why I still think that this is a Cinewhoop. A Cinewhoop has big, tall ducts that properly protect the propellers from people, right? Not this new style of Cinewhoop that has a razor thin piece of carbon fiber or plastic just barely around the outside tip of the propellers that is not going to really protect somebody that's fingers go into it. And so, yeah, the aerodynamic situation that this thing is in is like a brick. And when it's like a brick, it's going to slow down like a brick, and you don't have to put the brakes on. You can just let it sit like this. You flatten it out. You know, you put the nose down to generate your momentum, and then as early as you can, you flatten it out, and it just slams the brakes on because it's just a big old brick of plastic up front. So yeah, that's why I continue to fly proper Cinewhoops. Also, Yet another TBS Crossfire, complete pain in the ass today. I get there. This worked totally fine a few weeks ago at that Alpha Fine Homes gig. I get there today. The receiver says that it's bound. The module does not, and it's not. There's no connection between the quad and the transmitter, even though the green light was solid on the receiver. Powered off, powered on, powered off, powered on, powered off, powered on, powered off, powered on. Nothing. No control link whatsoever. Put the well, it had the Crossfire module on it. Put the Crossfire module into bind mode. Try to get in there and push the bind button. I couldn't quite get in there to get the bind button. Start taking the motherfucking top plate off to be able to properly get to the bind button. At this point, like, I need to be in the air, and I said, hold on. I took the module out of bind mode, power cycled everything one more time, and magically it just connected. This is the main problem with Crossfire. You like it, and it just makes no sense. It has done this ever since day one. It doesn't do it all the time, but like every 4 or 5 months, I would say, it does this. Usually I have to rebind it. Usually I have to actually get to the bind button and actually rebind it. But yeah, I have had it before where it's exhibited this behavior, where if I put the transmitter into bind mode, I don't know, super weird, super annoying. F Crossfire. I cannot wait to get absolutely everything off of it and onto ELRS, because it doesn't. I've never had that issue with ELRS. So yeah, man. Between that and all the fail safes, it's yeah. The days of Crossfire being the best link, control link, are long gone. long gone. Their components are manufactured with very good quality control. I will absolutely say that. I think I've only ever had one Crossfire receiver fail, and I've only had one Crossfire module fail as well, in however long Crossfire's been out, 6 years. So there's absolutely no questioning that the quality control of their electronic components is really good. But the latency of the link sucks. The link quality compared to ELRS sucks. Sorry, but it does. ELRS 900 is much lower latency. And then like this weird ass it needing to rebind it bullshit sucks. And it is not just me. Every single person that I talk to that has flown Crossfire for a long period of time has dealt with the needing to rebind thing. And it's funny. It's like one of these old school. It's like it's one of the last leftover FPV is DIY kind of things, right? Like 6 or 7 years ago, everything was like this. Like every time you went out to fly and you plugged a battery in, it was like, all right, what's going to go wrong this time? And so when you needed to rebind, it was like, oh, this is an easy one. The quad's not on fire. This is great. All I have to do is push some buttons and rebind it. As of the last like 2 or 3 years, not much is like that anymore. Like when I plug a quad in now, I expect it to work. 7 years ago, when I plugged the quad in, I expected it to not work. And so like it wasn't a big deal. Like we didn't even think about it. It you know what I'm saying? But yeah, No more of that. I'm over that. ELRS has been phenomenal, man. It wasn't at first. There were plenty of things early days of ELRS that were really annoying like that. And that's why I stayed on Crossfire. But I probably stayed on Crossfire for a little bit too long. And yeah. I can't believe how many fail-safes I've had on Crossfire over the last couple of years. It's really nasty. It really does not deal with noisy with noisy RF situations very well at all, especially with cellular stuff. It really it just sucks when you're flying near big groups of people with cell phones or cell towers, and there's a lot of them out there. A lot of people have cell phones. You could almost say everyone. Until the Terrible says, isn't emergency like a complete placebo scam? Probably. But I mean, it has a ton of vitamin C in it, and that beefs up your immune system. I'm sure that you piss most of it out, but like, you know, get a whole as much vitamin C into your stomach as you can, and then just move on, right? Like, I don't take like 4 emergencies a day. That's too much. You take one every morning, and it gets a whole bunch of vitamin C into your intestines, and then you're going to absorb as much of it as possible, and you're going to piss the rest out. It's just a way of like, orange juice is the acidity of orange juice like wrecks my stomach. So I just and like, we don't keep orange juice in the refrigerator, and I don't want, like, when I'm sick, I don't want to run out and buy orange juice. So we keep a bunch of emergency packets in the thing, and it's just easy and quick, and away you go. Whoop Fox says, I made up a HDLRC Draknite 2-inch with old Flywoo Gecko 2S board, but it's saying ESC4 is dead, so what 2S board would you recommend for HD? Well, it depends. I, I, it depends on the build. It depends on the frame. I don't know what frame that is offhand. It sounds like a carbon fiber-ish frame. Yeah, okay. So for a frame like this, you're not going to want a tiny whoop board that has like the USB port sticking straight out the bottom, right? I think what you should go with is the TuneRC Poly. Everybody other than one person has said that the TuneRC Poly AIO is the one to go with. TuneRC Poly F something or other. But if you just search for TuneRC Poly, should put that link in the chat. Well, no, I didn't, because it's too long. Just Google search TuneRC Poly F405. That's it. It's 2S to 4S. It does have an OSD chip on it, but I mean, that's fine. You can just bypass it. You just not use it. Yeah, this is, I feel like for any carbon fiber frame builds from 2S to 4S, I feel like this is the one. It's a little expensive, but like, look, if you find like a something similar that's $50 and it blows up after 40 batteries instead of this TuneRC lasting 80 batteries, the TuneRC board saves you money, right? Like, a lot of times with ESCs and flight controllers and AIOs, if you can find one that is legitimately better quality, but it costs 10, 20, $30 more, a lot of times in the long run, it's going to be a lot cheaper because it's going to run so many more batteries, right? When the cheap one blows up, what are you going to do? Are you just going to throw that quad in the river? No, you're going to buy another AIO or another ESC or another flight controller. The trick is finding that electrical component that is actually better quality. For the longest time, with Hobbywing ESCs, a lot of people would say like, oh, they're super durable. Yeah, a lot of sponsored Hobbywing pilots would say that the Hobbywing ESCs are the most durable. I read that. I tried a bunch of them. I did not find them to be durable at all. They were blowing up just as frequently as and they're way more, Hobbywing stuff was way more expensive. I found Acon stuff, which was the same price as Hobbywing stuff, but it actually was way more durable, way more durable. And so that's the thing, right? You can't just shop on price, because sometimes the stuff that's more expensive is no more durable than the stuff that's cheaper. And it's super hard to find, because like everybody buys something, flies one battery on it and says, oh my God, this is the most durable thing on earth. This is a miracle. And so like most of the feedback that you read is just useless. And so, yeah, but boy, have I heard so much good stuff about the TuneRC Poly AIO. Cole Power says, yes, 8x7 is close enough. You would have to crop for both portrait and landscape, maybe lens correct, stabilize, then crop. I don't know, just seems a bit silly to run it twice. Oh, so you were talking about the home fly through. Oh. Oh, okay. Your original comment makes more sense now. Yeah, they specifically asked, Alpha Fine Homes specifically asked me to shoot vertical, and I said, hey, the new Hero 12 has an 8x7 sensor. The last gig that I flew for you is on that sensor, and you guys cropped it for vertical, and I thought it looked great on Instagram. And they said, yeah, it looked totally fine, but we do want the little bit of extra vertical field of view. They know what they're doing. Their editor is really good. And they worked with another FPV pilot previously who shot everything vertical. And so, yeah, on this most recent gig, we flew everything twice. Once vertical, once horizontal. And we had a big conversation about it too, because like throughout that, the $100 an hour is racking up as I'm sitting there with a fucking M2.5 screwdriver removing screws, and the guy that's paying me is just sitting there. He's like, that's super annoying. I was like, yep. He's like, there's no other way. I'm like, nah. And he's kind of looking at it. He's like, yeah, you're right. There is no other way. And like, so we had a full length conversation about it. And he's like, yeah, they're doing edits for Instagram, and then they're also doing 16:9 edits for YouTube. And he's like, yeah, for Instagram, even though it is 8x7, it does look better for the. And he's right. The flying this horizontal, even though it's an 8x7 sensor, you crop a lot. You crop a lot for that because the Instagram aspect ratio, it's ridiculous. It's like, it's almost 9x16. It's like really tall. And so taking this thing and putting it vertical like this, it does legitimately look better. So yeah, super annoying. But what makes it even more annoying is that during the daytime, I have to shoot ND filter for the exteriors and then no ND for the interiors. What we did is I didn't fly the whole route inside. I would just do approaches into the front door with the ND filter. So I would do like a straight on approach, all the approaches that we planned. And then I would just, as soon as I got in the front door, I would turn around, I'd go right back out and I would go to the next setup. And so on one battery, it actually ended up taking 2 batteries because it's going up a bunch of elevation because they want high elevation sweeping down. Hit all of the approaches, and then another battery for all of the exits, and then ND filter off. Then put the damn thing vertical and do all of those and all of the exits with it vertical, and then ND filter off, horizontal, fly all the interiors, vertical, fly all the interiors. It was a lot. They ended up paying more than my day rate because it just took forever. It just took forever to swap it all back and forth, and it was very mentally. It was really difficult keeping track of everything. We had a shot list, and I had a big note sheet and whatnot, but yeah, because to do it, we had to do it I had to do it very out of order, because, like one approach was going to get cut into the YouTube edit of flying around the first floor in a specific way. And then the next approach would be the one where I go up the stairs and then fly the first floor. And then the other one would be where I go down the stairs and fly the basement. And then the one exit would be from the bottom wrapping around, and we're trying to give like different, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I felt like a project, more of a project manager than a pilot at times during that gig, just trying to keep everything organized and straight and just mentally wrap my head around everything. Maxim, I believe is how that's pronounced, says, I heard that HDO Lux camera lens can be replaced by Walksnail Nano camera lens. Could you or someone in the chat confirm it? There's a lot of Walksnail lenses on AliExpress, but there's no HDO lenses. What's HDO? Oh, HD0. HD0. I think you're right. I think you're right about that. So I had this happen. The first battery that I flew with the HD0 Lux camera, I scratched the lens. And I dove down this rabbit hole. HD0 Lux replacement lens. Let's try this. Hey, if you guys like these live streams and would like to see them continue, head on over to... Why is it displaying like this? That's weird. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com and join my Patreon. That helps me the most. Buy something from my Etsy store. Book some one-on-one time with me through Fiverr. Get yourself some cool shirts and other random apparel from Teespring. PayPal me directly if you'd like. Here's a link to my Discord where we all hang out and talk shit. Searchable, look at all these affiliate links. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links, but just hit these affiliate links before you check out. It's free money for us content creators. But look at this. Searchable live stream transcripts. Craig designed this, and it's super cool. So if we go in here and we search for HD0 Lux, this searches through, this digs pretty deep. And so here you go. So in theory, you won't scratch it on your first crash like I did. 57 minutes and 15 seconds in. Let's see what I had to say. Come on. Here we go.
It looks like a plastic lens. I could be wrong.
Oh, all right. So that's not going to help.
Plastic lens. Luckily, it's wrist.
So that's me looking at the 04. But let's see here. 1501. Performance, Vista, HD0 Lux. Let's see what I had to say here.
Lesser clippers.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Oh, God, it's gross.
They're not particularly sharp.
Shut up.
Through the video transmitter. It does kind of matter. All right. Are we ready? It says it's not. I out of 2 low light performance. That the Avata 2 low light / wedding / whatever. It was an interesting story.
Oh, it's not fine that
a little contrast, and then you go in after the fact, and that's what it's contrast.
I think this might be where I scratched the Lux lens.
That's dragging the battery way the hell down that thereof. More like it.
Maybe not.
Dude.
I think you're right, man. Hopefully somebody in chat can confirm it. I don't remember. I don't quite remember. There is a lens that you can get though that works in the HD0 Lux. I don't have my HD0 Lux anymore. I put it up on the Etsy store and I'm pretty sure it sold. But hopefully somebody in chat will remember. Scrolling back up in the chat because YouTube did the thing. Give me 1 second. Good question, brother. Sorry I don't have a straight answer for it, but I'm pretty sure you're right, man. Cole Power says, did they want 4K? Brother, everybody always wants 4K. If you can't really fly a gig and deliver anything less than 4K at this point. They're, they probably won't hire you again. CMYK says, what's up? YuCanFPV says, I don't miss the GoPro beeps. I actually have come to love the GoPro beeps because they're so piercing that if the GoPro stops recording, which it sometimes does for God knows what reason, you can actually hear it over the sound of the screeching motors and props. So I've become okay with the GoPro beeps. I wish that it just wouldn't do that. But it's pretty rare. And we ask a lot from these GoPros. They're not designed to be put on these things that we put them on with the vibrations and the the crashes. Although, I don't really crash the Heroes ever. If you're flying cinematic stuff, you should be flying it with a camera that you don't crash. You should have your freestyle action cams and then your cinematic action cams. Don't use one camera for both. But yeah, still they get vibrated to absolute hell. Zabluga says, "Hey man, what's up, man? How you doing? I feel awful, but I'm here. I'm glad to be hanging out with you guys again." Cole says Bones does 5.3K so the Bones is, I think it's the exact same thing as the 12. 5.3 at 2430. I like to use this when I know I don't want 120. Lets me lens correct and has more pixels for stabilization. export 4K to maximize detail. Yeah, I always ask clients if they want 60 frames, and they always say yes. And so it's never really a conversation. But yeah, to each his or her own. CCAD Ryan says, I'm trying to find a motor for a 1S 45mm prop. What do you recommend? I can't really just make like a static recommendation like that. There's not one motor that fits all. Some motors will be good for longer run times. Some motors will be good for more power. It's, the motor selection is very, very, very unique to each individual pilot and to each individual rig that you're building. If you build a rig that you want to fly for 5 minutes, and you build another rig that you want to fly for 2 minutes, it's going to be a totally different motor. So there's not really a great answer for that. There's not a one size fits all answer for that. What I can tell you though is that a 45mm propeller on 1S, it's a little tough. You for really good performance, you want to go up to 2S for that big of a propeller. For me personally, somebody that flies pretty hardcore freestyle with tiny whoops, and somebody that wants about 3 minutes or so of runtime, on a Meteor 75 Pro build, the motor that I liked best was the Beta FPV 1102 22,000 kV. So yeah, that's about the best that I can kind of do. When people book time with me through Fiverr, or just message me to set it up and then PayPal me for the half hour, however long we spend, one of my favorite things to do is what I call build planning. And for about 10 minutes, I just hammer that person with questions. Where do you fly? How often do you crash? What kind of runtime are you looking for? Who are your favorite pilots? What are you doing with the flight footage, right? There's a ton of different questions. There's a ton of different info that I need to know to suggest the right motor or propeller or frame or battery or all that stuff. And so, from one sentence, there's just no way for me to give you like a really good answer. So all I can really tell you is what I personally like. If you wanted to really dive into that to actually figure out what the perfect motor would be for you, we could pretty easily take care of that in a half an hour long session, and we could talk about a bunch more stuff in the extra time. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Elias says, dude, I saw the Beta FPV 1103 8500 kV are $24. Jesus, on their website. That's an insane price point. F those Ysido motors, LOL. Is the Air 2 frame worth upgrading? If so, I'll order some right away. It depends on what frame you're on now. If you're on Cockroach 65 V3 frames, no, it's not worth upgrading. When your existing frame breaks, yes, or if you're already doing an order and the store that you're ordering from has the Air 2 frame, absolutely. The Air 2 frame is, you could make a very strong argument for it being the best Tiny Whoop 65mm frame right now. It's a little bit lighter than the Cockroach 65 V3, and it seems to be as durable. It has a little bit less flight controller. Ooh! Hold on, I gotta blow my nose. Sorry, guys. Again, hopefully this is better than no live stream at all. Yikes. Yeah, so if you're doing an order and the website has these frames, snag one or two, for sure. They're awesome. The Cockroach 65 V3 has the little hooks on it, which are really, really cool. If you ever want to do a no props in view batwing mount build, like what I chase the RC drift cars with. But yeah, this frame is awesome. It's got a little bit less clearance for the flight controller than the Cockroach 65 V3 frame. So on flight controllers like the 2G4, the Happy Model 2G4, the camera plug really pushes into this Air 2 frame more than I'd like. Other than that, it's a great frame, and you should have a couple. But don't like run out and buy them. So yeah, there you go. Yamasaur says, "Are you going to switch to dual band ExpressLRS for your working rigs?" Yep, I'm in the process of doing that. This guy has it. This guy has the full dual band setup. Everything is going to all of the working rigs are going to full blown Gemini Nomad dual band receivers. The freestyle rigs are those receivers are $45 each because it's actually two receivers, right? My freestyle rigs, the 3-inch rigs, the for fun rigs, they're going onto the $20 XR1, I think it is, which is a single receiver, but it's switchable. You can switch it between 900 and 2.4. You got to like land to do that because you got to go into the Lua script. But yeah, so any rigs that I use for work, you know, this guy, for example, this will get switched over to the proper full-blown expensive receiver setup with the Nomad dual setup. But yeah, by the end of the year, there you go. By the end of 2025, I will not have any builds on Crossfire anymore. That's probably not true. Most of my builds will no longer be on Crossfire by the end of 2025. How about that? Because there's gonna be something that's just like sitting here that I don't really fly that's still on Crossfire, and I'm just gonna like there's a Kiss Apex sitting over here that flies like total shit. I'm not gonna take that off Crossfire. I never fly it. It just sits there. But yeah, any of the rigs that are actually worthy of flying will be off of Crossfire by the end of the year. Denzel the Turbo says, hilarious to hear Ciotti yearning for ELRS after all his past hate for it, fully over to the dark side. I didn't like ELRS when ELRS was more of a pain in the ass than Crossfire, right? The hardware sucked, right? You guys remember that? Some of you, Danzil, you've been into it long enough. I mean, there was a while that like before you bought an ELRS receiver, you had to go on ELRS's website and look at this ridiculous chart to see how far out of spec that receiver was going to be. That's insane. Like that for rigs that you're going to fly around people is a recipe for hurting somebody, right? And so that's when I was bagging on ELRS. As soon as that got sorted out and the hardware was good enough, yeah, I started using it, and here we are. Ramalala says, ELRS first move is set to Crossfire? What? As I've been in fear of ELRS, so question is which way to win? ELRS is now better than Crossfire in every way, is what I can say. There are the receivers that now exist. The quality control is really good. ELRS itself, as an open source project, is just better than Crossfire. Crossfire has had minimal updates or effort put towards it in many years. TBS put it out, and they've just kind of ignored it, and that's fine. It was the best for a bunch of years, and it's not anymore. They seem to have it is what it is. But yeah, ELRS is now absolutely better. One of the things that really sealed the deal with that was the Gemini Nomad setup. This demolishes Crossfire. TBS doesn't have anything that can even remotely touch this. They don't have anything that's dual band. They've got Crossfire, and then they've got Tracer. So you can either run Tracer and your range kind of sucks, but the latency is low, or you can run Crossfire and the range is pretty good, but the latency sucks and the ability to handle noisy RF situations sucks. Or you can run Nomad Gemini and get the best of all worlds. And so Gemini was truly just killed any TBS link. I'm kind of surprised that TBS hasn't fired back with something, but maybe they just kind of realized why bother? ELRS wins. It was an open source project. They've got a lot of people working on it. They've got a lot of really smart people working on it. We're never going to catch up with them. We made tons of money from they still sell tons of Crossfire, I'm sure, right? TBS will forever sell plenty of stuff and live totally comfortable on, piggybacking off of certain pilots that they've sponsored forever. And their gear is good, but ELRS is better. In the same way that Betaflight, a massive open source project with the smartest people in all of FPV, I mean, not the smartest, but if you look at Betaflight and you look at the amount of brain power being funneled into Betaflight, no closed source firmware is ever going to be able to touch that, right? I'll bet you TBS kind of realized that the transmitter links are the same kind of situation. The amount of intelligence and brain power being funneled into ELRS is not something that the couple of devs that TBS has is ever going to be able to catch up with. Maybe that's yeah. So there you go. Frank Nicholas says, eating a carnivore diet and monthly blood tests my first year, I know you can get enough vitamin C from just eating meat. On carnivore, I had no deficiencies shown in my blood work. Frank Nicholas says, none of the acids found in fruit. Yeah, with a good diet, you don't need vitamins. I don't have a good diet. I don't have a bad diet, but I have not done the blood work to figure out whether or not my diet does or doesn't have vitamin deficiencies. The little packets of emergency are very inexpensive, and they're a quick, easy way to make absolutely sure that I'm getting enough vitamin C for the 4 or 5 days that I'm sick. And so it's just an easy thing to quickly do. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It probably cost me $5 over the past 5 days for in the little packets, and that's fine. I'm willing to spend $5 just to be sure. Denzel says, not just emergency, mega doses of vitamin C are scientifically unproven to cure colds. Normal vitamin C intake is all that your immune system needs. Eat your veggies and you'll be fine. Yeah, I'm not disciplined enough with my diet to be sure that at any given time I have all the vitamins that I need. And so, yeah, it doesn't, taking vitamins doesn't, the vitamin debate is an interesting one, because on one hand, it's just what a waste of time and energy and money. But on the other hand, it doesn't hurt anything. And so if you're good about your diet, and you're super disciplined with it, yeah, sure, save the couple dollars that vitamins cost. If you're not disciplined enough and you get sick, I think it makes sense to spend a few dollars and just make absolutely sure that you're getting whatever, more than 99% of your vitamin C intake or whatever. Cole Power says, time to fly with a 360 camera, all the aspect in the world. How about Insta360 working with that other company to make a 360 drone? And how about all of their marketing materials saying the first ever 360 drone? Motherfucker, there have been 18 different 360 drones for the last 5-6 years. What the hell? World first. Fuck you. You Can FPV says you could run 2 cameras. Could. That'd make flying it a lot harder. I already have. I already need more runtime. Ramalala says, long-time listener. Hope you well. Thank you, dude. I'm not well, but I will be soon enough. License to Drive says, would a wide-angle lens on the GoPro be the solution for getting widescreen and tall screen source footage in one shot? Or would you lose too much resolution? The GoPro lenses are already too wide. They already have significant barrel distortion on the edges. And so an even wider GoPro lens would be even worse. I mean, it would just be like you're looking through a fishbowl. So no, that would not. To be honest, it would actually be best to set the GoPro. So there's whatever the widest. There's usually 3 settings, like super duper wide, and then linear or normal. The best scenario would actually be to go from super wide to regular wide, like whatever the middle setting is, and then rotate the damn thing. That would be the best kind of setup. Mickley Ree, I butchered that, I apologize. Says, I'm resoldering my camera to get the best video signal, and I was wondering how to place the RX antenna to minimize interference. Thank you a lot. You want to get it the receiver antenna. Okay. Well, just in general, when it comes to antennas, you just want to get them as far away from each other as possible. But here's the thing. Even more important than that is getting them away from the PCB or any carbon fiber. The closer the antenna is to carbon fiber or the ground plane of an AIO, the more often the antenna is going to be blocked by the carbon fiber or the ground plane of the AIO or the flight controller or the ESC. And what we call that is antenna placement, right? And so antenna placement is the most important thing. And if you look here, the video antenna is the most important because it's transmitting. And then on the other side here, the little yellow guy is the receiver antenna. And if you look right down the middle, you can see there's a little bit of a gap in between them. This is fine. This is how you get them as far away as possible, but also separated. I could probably get this VTX antenna and put it a little bit farther over, but this is actually totally fine here. The other thing that I have going for me is that the active element of this video transmitter is up here. It's the little L shape. And so it's doing all of its radiation up here. And then if you look at the yellow receiver antenna, it stops right there. And so the active element is here, and then the receiver antenna stops here. And so that's going to work really, really well. If the receiver antenna was up here, it would be getting blasted. But remember that the receiver antenna is receiving 2.4 for ELRS. The video antenna is outputting 5.8. So the wavelengths are completely different. The 5.8 wavelength is like this. The 2.4 wavelength is more like this. And so even if you had these two antennas right next to each other, it wouldn't be that bad at all. But best case scenario is to offset not have them lined up like this, separate them a little bit, and offset them like this. This is a great setup right here. This is going to work amazing on a tiny whoop. On a full-size rig, again, get the antennas away from the carbon fiber. These little stubby antennas that sit all back in here are awful. Get them as far away as possible from the carbon. And then, again, this is not the best scenario here. We've got this 5.8 antenna blasting right into this 2.4, but it's okay because the wavelengths are totally different. And also, I've got one antenna here for 2.4. I've got another antenna here for 2.4. So this antenna down here is not getting blasted almost at all by these two. And so, you know, this is set up on Nomad. It's got diversity. It's going to run both of these on both channels at the same time. And so, yeah, antenna placement is super important. And those are the core principles. Keep the antennas as far away as possible from carbon fiber or just any electronic PCBs. Pretty much all electronics are layers. The PCB is a bunch of layers, and one of those layers is almost always a solid sheet of, I believe it's copper, but it's called the ground plane. It's where all of the grounds connect to. And that ground plane does a good job of blocking RF. And so keep the antennas as far away from each other as you can and as far away from carbon fiber and ground planes as possible. And you'll have good antenna placement. Great question, brother. I don't need to cover my mouth. Nobody's in here. Calvin says, glad you're alive from the flu. Thank you, dude. Brent Anderson says, spent a day on the pinch cam. I hate it. I'm intrigued enough. I hate it, and I'm intrigued enough to fly it more. That perimeter blur is wild. I don't love it either, but a lot of people do. You Can FPV says, actually, you're kind of right. I've missed things because my other fans have shut off or stopped, and I didn't notice. Fans? What other fans? BMF Spade says, one of my air. I don't know. Yes? Maybe that's the right answer. You Can FPV says, my 2G4 fit better in the Air 2 frame than the Cockroach V3, like the cam plug doesn't hit the duct as much. Really? Maybe my Cockroach frames were squished. Air seemed more roomy. Okay, fair enough. Where is... Do I have one? I don't have one. I test fit the 2G4, and what it... When you're putting the 2G4 into the Cockroach 65 V3 frame, when you're in the process of installing it, it's really difficult. Because the ducts on the Air 65 are like more aggressively angled like this. The Air 65 ducts are like they're like shorter, and so they're almost like this versus the Cockroach 65 V3 where it's like that. So when you're putting the 2G4 into the Cockroach frame, it's really hard to get it over this initial lip. But then once you get it down, in my opinion, there's a little bit more room for that camera plug. But I might not have had the camera plugged in because I was testing it with a spare 2G4 that I just had laying around. When I put the 2G4 into the Air V2 frame, I didn't have to pull the duct out as much. I didn't have to pull the duct out as much to get it past. But then once it sat down, it didn't seem to sit as far in. The frames are like $4 or $5 each. You should have at least one of either one, just because they're both awesome. And so, yeah. But good feedback. I do not have an Air 65 V2 frame with a 2G4 in it at the moment. I just did that test fit when I first got the frame, and I was like, yeah, that fits fine. And then somebody in the chat had said that they didn't like the way that the camera plug was pushing up against it, so they direct soldered the motor. We talked about it on a stream. I was like, it's easy to direct solder the motors. I've done it before when I was worried about it. It didn't make it any better. And so, good feedback. Thank you, dude. 2G4 is fine in the Air 2. I love that. BMF Spade says, one of my Air 2 frames is showing some weak spots, just like the first Air frame, but I've beat the shit out of it on hardwood floors. Yeah, as you guys continue to beat the Air V2 frames, let me know. Mine have held up ridiculously well. Mine have held up just as well as the Cockroach 65 V3 frames have. If you really hammer the hell out of a Cockroach V3 frame, it will start to wear, and it'll... I don't actually think I've broken one. Maybe I have. Any of these plastic frames, you can slam it, you can break them. But some of them are really weak. The V1 Air frame, weak as hell. The Light AF frame, not weak as hell, but weak compared to the Air V2 and the Cockroach 65 V3. It's okay because it's super lightweight. For how light it is, it's shocking how durable it actually is. That's another frame that you should probably just have because it's really light and it might be durable enough for you. Yamasaur says those Bay CKRC crossband dual receivers are $35 on Amazon. What's Bay CKRC? I only do the Radio Master receivers because Radio Master makes good quality stuff. I would not go with this Bake RC. That sounds a little sketchy. Levster says, hey dude, I'm late. Are healthy again? Hope so. Wish you all the best. Good to see you. Glad you can make it, brother. You Can FPV says Kia's video on the anti-gravity A1 is pretty good. He talks about it a lot more than anyone else. Very cool. That's the Insta360 360 drone. Uriel says, if you start reading ingredients, you go sick, but it helps. You Can FPV says, yeah, it seemed tighter, but once I got it past the duct, it was roomier. On the cockroach, it was super tight. Very interesting. At some point, a 2G4 build will go into a an Air V2 frame. But I have if the Air V2 frame is as roomy or more roomy than the Cockroach 65 V3, then it is absolutely fine on the 2G4 AIO because the Cockroach V3 frame, even though the camera plug on the 2G4 does barely push against the duct a little bit, it's totally fine. I had a build where I flew it a whole bunch. I cranked the tune way up as high as I could, and then I removed that plug and I direct soldered the camera, and I could not push the tune any further. So it's totally fine either way. Brian Kirk says, do you know when pushing the tunes... What? Do you know when pushing the tunes and the beta flight lights up in red and says drone might fly away? What? Beta flight lights up in red? What does that mean? I don't know anywhere that beta flight lights up in red. Tell me more. That's super confusing. Hey, everybody go to CiottiFPV and click some buttons. Join my Patreon. Hit a couple of affiliate links. Change your bookmarks to a bunch of those websites that I have affiliate links for to my affiliate links, so that every time you hit your bookmark for Race Day Quads or Get FPV, you're just automatically hitting my affiliate link. Do something, and I'll keep helping you not buy the wrong shit. You Can FPV says, that cam plug is the only thing I don't really care for with the 2G4. Otherwise, it's been indestructible. Water slams, hundreds of batteries. It just keeps going. Yeah, it's unbelievable. If you really don't like the camera plug, you can direct solder it. But boy, I have had no problems with the camera plug. I was super skeptical for a while of that camera plug, but it's been totally fine. Dave S says flyaway warning on PIDs tab. Oh, yeah, ignore that shit. PID tuning is so easy now. Take the master multiplier and just move it up. And eventually the quad's going to start acting weird, or it's going to fly away, and then you just back it down until it stops doing that. Done. Super, super, super simple. But yeah, the flyaway warning on the PIDs tab, yeah, don't worry about that. That is that is for noobs only. All right, let's fly a couple batteries. The thumbnail. Hey, the thumbnail image was taken with this ridiculous setup. I've been looking for a way of getting a little bit more macro out of the phone. I use I've been using iPhone cameras for my thumbnail images forever, because they're like just barely good enough, and the thumbnail is usually just tiny. And so I recently got this set up for $26 whole from Amazon. There's a company that makes a iPhone case that up here it's got threads, and then the whole setup is like $100, which is a bit much. But boy, do we use our iPhone cameras for a lot of stuff, right? Like kind of 99% of our photography, some people 100% of our photography in our lives, right? And so this company makes a case that has threads up here, and then they sell lenses, and they sell macro lenses, they sell telephoto lenses, and as someone who did a shitload of photography in my 20s and my 30s, and I still kind of love it, but I'm not necessarily willing to drag a DSLR around a lot. The built-in cameras to these are damn good, but having a little bit, it doesn't do quite good enough macro, and the telephoto is not great. And so like to put a different case on that has the threading, that's pretty easy. But like at $100+, it's a bit excessive. And so I got this cheapo setup, which is pretty similar. It's like a lens. I'm sure this lens is not as high quality, but for $26, I just wanted to check it. A lot of times these macro lenses are way too macro. And so this kind of setup, it just is on springs, and so you won't be able to see me doing this, but it springs on there. Go away, Siri. It springs on there, and then you've got a macro lens. And it works, but I wanted to see if it was too macro, and it kind of is. It was able to get pretty good focus on the text on the motor bell, but then like everything else was completely out of focus, that's always a challenge with macro photography. When with macro photography, you lose loads of depth of field, and but I figured it was worth trying it for $26 before I went all in on like the case setup with the cool threads and whatnot. And this is what I expected, and this is what I got. I expected it to be super, super, super shallow depth of field. So I'm not going to go all the way in on the $100 setup. I think I'm going to keep this, though, because for taking like super close-up shots of like motors, it kind of works. And so yeah, the thumbnail today was with this new little setup. I thought that was kind of cool. But the thumbnail and the title of this live stream is WeBleed 0702 40,000 kV motors. I think these are these are my favorite indoor 65mm tiny whoop motors. They have the best mix of really good power, but also efficiency. The RC and Power 0702, 27,000 and 29,000 kV motors make more power, but they are super inefficient. The Newbie Drone and Beta FPV 0702, 30,000 kV motors have a little bit more power, but they are a little bit less efficient. These WeBleed 702 40,000s are just like the perfect mix of plenty of power, but good enough efficiency. And so, yeah, they're the best kind of mix. The fact that they're 40,000 kV, the different motor manufacturers measure kV differently. These are not, these motors are drastically over kV'd. If Newbie Drone or Beta FPV or RC and Power put out a 40,000 kV motor, they would catch on fire. So like if you were to compare, if you were to look at the actual RPM that these motors turn unloaded, which is how you measure kV, and you compared that to those 30,000, 29,000, 27,000 kV motors that I just mentioned from other manufacturers, these would all be very, very similar. So don't let the 40,000 kV number scare you off from these motors. The long and short of it is that these motors have a really good amount of power, not so much power that they're like super hard to handle, like the RC and Powers, like less so, but the Newbie Drone 30,000s, the Beta FPV 702 30,000s. And then these guys have more efficiency. So I really, really, really like these motors. if you haven't tried these, you should snag a set. WeBleed has tons of these in stock. They're really good. They make a lot of power, and for an inexperienced pilot, these are going to be really hard. You can help that out a little bit with some Throttle Expo. I have a couple of live streams discussing Throttle Expo. Why is it so fucking hot in here? Or you can just motor limit them down in the PIDs tab. Just go to the motor limiting. I almost smacked my phone. Hey, there it is. Why is it 75 degrees in here? What's happening? Stop eco. You're killing me, Nest. How do I disable eco mode forever? Is it the auto schedule shit? I don't know. I don't understand Nest. Usually it's fine. But yeah, there you go. First up is, I think, sort of like the one of the best mixes of lightweight but super durable. Beta FPV, Air 65 version 2 frame, WeBleed 0702 40,000 kV motors, HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 tri-blade props in the WeBleed red. You can only get them in this red from WeBleed, so when you're ordering the motors, you might as well snag some of these props. They're awesome. While you're at it, snag some of the bi-blades, the HQ 1.2 by 1.2 by 2 bi-blades. Super fun. You might like those better. You might like these props better. They're cheap. Snag them. Old school Cockroach 65 canopy. Super durable. Not Cockroach 65. Mobula 6 old school happy model canopy. Sorry. Incredibly durable. Runcam Nano 3. Super lightweight camera. This canopy, this is the most durable canopy ever. This is the lightest weight camera ever. Because it's the most durable canopy, it's not the lightest weight canopy. So we pair it with the lightest weight camera. And this combination of camera and canopy, I love it because it's super durable and the camera is good enough. Some people hate this camera. This camera is a little bit lower field of view, a little bit less field of view than some people prefer. I've gotten used to it over the years, and if you can get used to it, you're going to benefit from the fact that you can run this camera with this super durable canopy. ORT Micro V antenna in the custom length, which you can get from my Etsy store. And then this is built off of the Mobula 6 2024 AIO from Happy Model. And it's the version 1, which is direct soldered. You can also do this build with a 2G4 AIO, but then you're going to gain some weight. What I like about this specific build is that the canopy is a little bit heavier, but it's super durable, and then the AIO is lighter weight. And so like we've got this mix of like lightweight AIO, but then heavy durable canopy, and so they kind of even each other out. This build with a 2G4 AIO is like all the durability, but then it's a little bit heavier. This setup with the lighter weight AIO makes it a little bit more maneuverable inside, and it's a really nice mix of durability with lightweight. And this AIO has proven to be pretty durable. Not as durable as the 2G4. Nothing's ever going to be as durable as the 2G4, I don't think. But the 2G4 is a full fat, big, heavy AIO. And so this is one of my favorite builds because it has that really nice mix of like certain things that are really light. The AIO is really light, but just durable enough. And then like the canopy is horrendously durable, but a little bit heavy. And so like these different things offset each other. Does that make sense? I have a scale again. This build weighs what the hell? I've not used this scale before. It boots up in grams. This build weighs, I'm sure it's not 34 grams. Oh, I didn't tear it when I put the little tray on top. This build weighs 17.4 grams. This build with a 2G4 in it would be over 18 grams. Super easy way for you to think about dry weights on tiny whoops. 18 plus grams, 19 grams and up is full-blown fat. That's just a fat tiny whoop. 18 to 19 grams is like a little bit chonky of a tiny whoop. 17 to 18 grams is like beautiful. Hopefully it's durable though. 16 to 17 grams, that's really light. It's gonna sacrifice some durability. 15 to 16 grams is gonna sacrifice durability, and it's crazy light. If you can get into the like 17 to 18 gram range and have something that's really durable, you're doing real well. The second rig that we're gonna fly weighs exactly the same. We'll talk about it when we fly it. It's also on these motors. Let's see how repeatable this scale is. 17.2. Not very repeatable. Didn't it say 17.4 a second ago? It just said 17.2 twice in a row. That's good. Okay, so this scale does the same thing that my old scale does. If you put something on top and you just look at the weight, it's not going to be right. You got to put something on top and then push down and then let it spring back up. And that's how you get it to be repeatable. 17.2 grams, this build. The one that we're going to fly after that with a much heavier camera, but a better camera in a lot of people's opinions, and a much worse antenna is 17.5 grams. Yeah, I know. Cool. These batteries are all over the place. Tomorrow night's live stream, maybe tomorrow night. If I feel better, it'll be tomorrow night's live stream. If I don't feel better, it'll be Wednesday's live stream. WeBleed very kindly sent me a box of goodies. And in this box, the main thing, I messaged Jeff. I said, hey man, I've been running a bunch of your 300 mAh batteries for like a year, and they've held up really well, but they're getting tired. I said, do you have any interest in sponsoring a live stream where I show the difference between year-old batteries and fresh batteries? And Zotek was like, hell yeah, man, I'll send you a bunch. I thought he was just going to send me like a pack of these batteries. He sent me 3. These are, I think there's 4. Yeah, 4 in each of these. And then he sent me a bunch of other stuff. A bunch of this stuff will end up in the giveaways, so he's basically sponsoring a bunch of giveaways, which is amazing. He has always been incredibly generous. And so, yeah, I will take at least one of these, maybe 2 of these for myself, and then the other one will go into June, July, August, September, first Monday of September's giveaways. A lot of the other stuff in this box will be giveaway stuff. So yeah, shout out to him. But either tomorrow night or Wednesday's live stream, I'm super excited because I haven't done this in a while. I haven't done fresh batteries versus old cycled to death batteries in a while. And so today we're going to run these cycled to death batteries. But these are the batteries that I've been running for a while, so you guys are used to seeing them. So yeah, let's fly a few. I think I did put #6 batteries in the live stream title. That means that you need to fly your 6 batteries today. If you fly 6 batteries, 6 Tiny Whoop batteries every single day, or at the very least every single time I live stream, and put hashtag 6 batteries into the live stream title as your reminder to fly your 6 today, you will be a much better pilot before you know it. And you'll be having more fun because flying good. Because the better you fly, the more fun you're having. There's a point where it kind of maxes out, but just keep getting better, yo. You Can FPV says, do they make 40,000 kV in 1.5 millimeter? I'm killing the 1 millimeter shafts too quick. They don't, but they don't make any really good propellers in 1.5 millimeter for the 65 millimeter rigs. So get replacement bells. WeBleed sells replacement 07. I should have let it fall onto that cube. WeBleed sells replacement bells, and they're not all that hard to install. I was flipping the switch to turn the OSD on, so my finger was not on the throttle to avoid that symbol. All right, hang on. My brain is still foggy. This might be a rough day of flying here. Yeah, I'm not on it today. Let me just get... Maybe I just need a minute to warm up. Ah! Oh. Uh-oh. Burrito blanket's trying to eat me. Burrito blanket, leave me alone! Burrito blanket! Let me fly! No! Ah. I think I'm like stuck in between the folds. Yep. I was indeed. Whew, yeah, I'm struggling today. I also haven't tiny whooped in a while, to be really honest. Oh, man. Ooh. All right, let's just flow around for a little bit here. Let's just chill. The gutters still haven't gotten done. For reasons, and so I'm not putting this shit all back together until the gutters are done and we've gotten a huge rainstorm, because this is where it floods back here. And so if I put this shit all back together and then it rains really hard and it floods again, I'm gonna be pissed. And so I'm leaving this all torn apart until all those things happen, and then I'll put it back together, and we'll be fine. 2 minutes and 9 seconds. This is probably a pretty hammered battery. Let's throw another one through it, and this setup should get 3 minutes of runtime. This is a little bit more fresh battery here. Let's see. All right. Oh my god, man. Struggle. Get in there. Come on. Gentle. Gentle. There we go. So that whole time I was holding the momentary switch, which I have set up to turn air mode off. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, this is rough. Just flow around. We don't always got to do mad tricks. Sometimes we can just chill. I don't get much practice just flown around like this, though, so I'm actually not all that good at it. I should fly like this more. Oh, God! What did I think was going to happen? Oh, God, no, no, no! The goddamn the hallway, this stairwell, it's like, it's not quite wide enough to recover. Like, if you hit one wall, the momentum just, yeah, it's not wide enough. Where's the dog? The dog got a haircut, and he looks kind of silly. Where's he at? Where the hell is he? I did not plan that. That just kind of lined up. That was fun. Oh, God. Ah! Oh. Quick decision. Oh, God, why? Ugh. What? What am I looking at? Got to make the most of this shelving unit being here because it's never going there again. 2 minutes and 50. There you go. That's a little bit more representative. I can't wait to see what the fresh batteries do. We'll do one more mangled battery through this. The first battery was a super cycled WeBleed battery. The second battery was a quad gas battery that's been cycled probably like 50 to 100 less times. Now I'm going to do a lava battery, which I think has been cycled even less, but it's kind of hard to tell. This lava battery is a little bit heavier. There's a chance that the ELRS V2 frame... Let me show you guys something real quick. Let me show you guys something. I'm starting to maybe notice something. I'm starting to maybe notice that the ELRS V2 frame is more slidey. And I think I know why. Son of a bitch. I don't have a freestyle build on a cockroach V3 frame right now. What the shit? What madness is this? Like we talk about with Cinewhoops. Yeah, look at that. That is noticeable. The height of the duct has a lot to do with the flight characteristics on a Cinewhoop. This is a cockroach V3 frame. This is an ELRS V2 frame. Look at the difference in the height of the ducts. These, I think that this is feels more slidey. I'm gonna test that at some point here. And then the other, there's also the, this is the 1.4 inch prop frame, and yeah, look at that. The 1.4 inch prop frame has the same duct height as the Cockroach 65 V3, and then if you compare it to the ELRS 65 V2, it's much taller. These 1.4 inch setups feel a lot less slidey because I thought it was because the propeller area is so much bigger, but it's also going to be because the duct height is so different. This is my 04 little cinematic build. I have moved all of my freestyle rigs to either the Air 65 V2 or the Light AF frames. The Light AF frames also have a very thin duct, which I can show you here. And I'm surprised that I didn't notice that. That's kind of interesting. So this is the Light AF duct. So it looks like the Light AF duct is ever so slightly taller than the Air 65 V2 duct, but it's much shorter. Yeah, look at that difference. Yo, that's super interesting. So that is actually a selling point of the V3. The Cockroach 65 V3 frame is, since it's got more duct height, it's going to be less slidey. When you turn, it's going to be more sort of grippy. It's also going to slow down faster. In the same discussion that we had about why I fly Cinewhoops with big, tall ducts, right? When you flatten this thing out, it slows down. On a thinner duct, you flatten it out and it just keeps balling. And when you try to turn, it doesn't, right? Less grip. It's got less grip. The thinner the duct, the less grip it has. When you see me start like bouncing around and just like sliding sideways into stuff, it's a lack of grip. Tri-blades help with that until you're flattened out. When you're stood up like this, when you've either rolled or you've got the nose down, the propellers make a difference. You can see it literally. Like look, you can see it. But then once you flatten out, the height of the duct has a lot to do with the aerodynamics and how slidey or grippy it kind of feels. So yeah, that's gonna be something that I test. I noticed it, but I didn't really think through it. That's kind of interesting. So there'll be a live stream at some point here, Air 65 V2 versus Cockroach 65 V3. That's a cool live stream, right? Because those are kind of the two. Those are the two 65 millimeter frames that are like ultra durable and just the most realistic for most people, you know, because durability is important as hell. All right, here we go. Last battery on this rig, and then we'll fly the other rig a little bit. What the hell? I bounced right off of it. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. That's just me flying like a buffoon. There's my big toe. I don't know why. I just didn't. Boy, oh boy. Not a great day of fun. I'm blaming it on the sickness. My brain is just foggy, man. Oh god, why? There we go. Finally. Okay. Rejected! I can't believe I missed that. That was pretty lucky. Oh god. What in the world? Blew something over. I heard it. Wait. Ah! No. See? I did that in a weird way and it didn't really look all that cool. Watch that. So that was a power loop, but it looked like shit, right? Look how much cooler this looks. Okay. Oh, you fuck. Some days you eat the bear. Some days the bear, well, he eats you. Today is a day I'm being eaten. I am out of practice. Oh my goodness. There we go. Oh man, I'm just all over the goddamn place. I mean, I'm hitting a couple things, but yikes. Nope. See, like right there, it was like very slidey. Bing. If you're gonna fly outside, these frames with the thinner ducts are gonna be better. Oh man. But for flying inside, I don't know about these frames having the thinner ducts. For racing, the thinner ducts might be better because they're going to be faster, but they're going to be less grippy. Well, although, see, racers don't corner flat like I do. This is something that might be somewhat unique to me, because I have like kind of a cinematic-ish flying style where, what racers in particular, when a racer corners, they just like they don't care about the horizon being level. I care a lot about the horizon being level because it looks better. So when I turn, I coordinate the sticks, and so I turn flat. And when you turn flat like this, when you turn flat like that, the thickness of the duct is what's going to slow it down from continuing to drift, right? Whereas like a racer, when they turn, they just go like that. And then you just hammer the throttle and that stops it from sliding and gets it to corner, right? And so, I don't know. This might be something specific to me. I bet you it's not, though. Like, even in the case that like you bump into something, crash recovery turns on, it flattens you out. You've bumped, that makes you go back this way. If the duct is taller, it's going to slow down, and maybe you don't hit the other side. A really thin duct like this, you bump that, and then you bump this, and you're and you pinball all over the goddamn place. So yeah, interesting. All right, this rig a little bit heavier, CO3 camera, Air 65 V2 frame, same propellers, same motors, terrible antenna. CO3 camera in the banana hammock mount. We're going to run a lava battery through this. You'll notice a wider field of view, slightly better camera, but it's heavier. So I'll be even worse. More up tilt as well, so there's no ducts. There's no duct in view in the bottom of the frame. Immediately. Oh! Got that elevation down! I was going to try to go through that cube, but I bailed. I snagged a $20-something flashlight that a YouTube reviewer that I watch a lot said was awesome, and it's crazy. It's got a magnetic base on it. Come on now. Get it together. Oh! So close. Oh my god, bro. Come on. Stop it. Oh! I got it through the cube, but I was facing a weird direction. Ugh. There it is. Oh God, why? No. Where am I? How is this possible? I have no idea where it is. I'm literally gonna have to turn the beeper on. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Oh my God, it's 5:30. I gotta shut this shit down, bro. Although, I guess maybe this is me making up for days of not streaming. Whoa! What's happening, you little shit? Oh, God, no! So this is the rig that I put that antenna on, and then it started oscillating all over the place and freaking out, and now all of a sudden it's doing it again. That's great. I took that antenna off, and it stopped doing it. The True RC ultralight antenna. And now it's doing it again. So this is a Matrix, Beta FPV Matrix flight controller, which I have had really kind of poor luck with. Now it's better. Whoa! Turned that corner quicker than I thought it would. Why did I think what in the Sam Hill? Ugh. No. Oh, come on now. Are you fucking kidding me? A wire? Oh, he got free. Nope! Oh, I can't believe I tried to bail. And then it somehow kind of still went through the thing. Two minutes and 35. Again, these batteries are old and moldy. But I think you'll get even less runtime than this on a lot of those other motors. I mean, on these batteries, you certainly would. I also don't run the batteries down as low as some people do. I try to run these batteries down to the point where when they bounce back, they bounce to storage voltage. Someone in the chat said, what do you think about... Someone in the chat said, what do you think about 0802 motors on 65mm builds? There's probably like 50 or 60 live streams dedicated to that from like 3-4 years ago. The long and short of it is they're too heavy. They're too heavy and there's just no need. As with all things in FPV, racers are always like the gold standard of comparing things, because like they have a clock that they can refer to, so it's not just like, oh, this thing feels better. And I don't think any racers run 802s anymore. Certainly none of the fast racers. They're just too heavy. And you don't really get anything for that weight. They're great on 75mm rigs, though. Which is like, that's a perfect example of them being too heavy, right? Like, if they're good on a 75mm rig that's like 4 or 5 grams heavier, why on earth would you run them on a lighter weight rig? You know what I'm saying? The fact that they have enough jam to turn a propeller that's so much bigger, so much draggier, so much heavier, means that they don't belong on a little tiny 1.2-inch prop. Ah! I'm getting a little bit warmed up here. PID loop just went completely insane on this thing when I did that little split S. Hey, dong ding! Dong ding! Let's do that again. Since I totally did it on purpose. Dong ding! Alright, friends, one more battery. And then we out. I flew my 6, you better fly yours. Last battery on this rig with the 40,000 kV 0702 WeBleed motors. If you snag yourself a set, do me a favor and hit my affiliate link over on CiottiFPV.com. Zotek has these frames in stock. He's got all the good propellers in stock. He's got the good stuff, man. Treat yourself. You can FPV says, what about 1.4 props on 802? Okay, this is the battery that I meant to throw away. Well, maybe. Let's see what it bounces back to. Yeah, look at that voltage bounce back. 4 volts. Yeah, this battery is garbage. That would make a little bit more sense, but, like, why? It's still going to be too heavy for flying indoors, and then for flying outdoors, it's not going to be efficient enough. The 1.4 stuff only really makes sense if you keep it super lightweight. This battery goes away. It's totally shot. And so, yeah, like it would definitely control the 1.4 inch props better, but to what end? You know, it just you know that you would. Yeah, I don't know why you would do that. I don't know what that build would have its would be for. It's going to be so much heavier than these for flying inside. So it's going to make your life way more difficult trying to fly inside. And then for outside, it's not going to have the efficiency that you want, that you can easily get from a 75mm rig, right? And so, to what end is what I'll say about that. Thanks for hanging, friends. I'll feel better tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow night's live stream will be a little bit more energetic. I'm just glad I didn't lose my voice. I was worried about that. Let me get a little bit caught up on chat here real quick. BMF Spade says they need to start making some 1.5mm 1.5 props for us. I did the bell swap on a set of WeBleed 40,000s and run the WeBleed Red Gemfan 1210R bi-blades. Yeah, I did the same thing, but that propeller is just nowhere near as good. Euro says, during your basement time, the rest left room for me. Kelvin says, when I fly my 5-inch now, I carry quick lot. You can FPV says, I feel like it dives better than the Roach V3 too. Yeah, for sure. Because there's less obstruction, right? It's more aerodynamic. So like flying outside, the thinner ducts will perform better. But flying inside where you might want a little bit less slidiness, the Cockroach 65 V3 frame is going to do a better job. I can't wait to test that, actually. I need to get 2 identical rigs. And I'll put one on one frame, one on the other. That'll be a cool test. Lord Regian says, I need some help. Got the HD0 M8 with AIO 15. You came to the wrong place. I don't know HD0 for shit. I'm trying to use online Betaflight configurator, but I won't read it or connect. Tried RC drivers fixed to different USB cable. Go to the HD0 Discord channel. There's always people in there, and they're super helpful. I don't have that AIO. And I don't even know what the HD0 M8 is. But yeah, I'm not the guy for HD0 stuff. I'm also not the guy for PC stuff. I don't know anything about PCs. On Macs, It just works. Kelvin says, "Where's the water slide sticker stream?" That's true. I got those beta FPV water slide stickers, and then I just put them in the box of Tiny Whoop shit. I need to do. I don't really have like a pretty build. I beat the shit out of all my builds. I need a build that I load up with LEDs and I don't crash, and that's the one that I gotta put those water slide stickers on. Uriel says, CiottiFPV and all, wish you all the best. Wish you all the best. Excuse me. Whoop Fox says, what's the highest KV you would run with a 2S 2-inch? Too many variables, man. Bi-blades, tri-blades, quad blades, all up weight. You know, there's just too many variables. I can't give an answer that would make any sense. Denzel the Terrible says you could always focus stack your macro shots. Yeah, if I was using a tripod, I could, but I just handhold all this shit. Uriel says, best portrait pictures you make. You Can FPV says, do they make the... we talked about that. Cool, we're good. Thanks for hanging, friends. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Fly your 6 batteries. Have an excellent rest of your weekend. Thanks for sticking with me with, you know, the sickness and a couple of no live streams. CiottiFPV.com to support me. I'll keep saving you money. You'll probably save more money than you spend supporting me. But if you don't support me, I'll eventually go away, and then you'll waste lots of money. So hook a brother up and change your bookmarks to affiliate links, join my Patreon, do all the things. Love you guys. Bye.